IVM.
Hi everybody, just wanted to ask everyone for a quick favor. We're running a brand survey right now and would really appreciate it if you could let us know what you think about the advertising on IVM. Go to ivmpodcast.com/survey and do let us know. As part of this, we'll be selecting 10 random participants and sending them some IVM swag, so do fill out those surveys.
All right. Hi, Farhad. You're
Hi.
happy today.
I am.
I mean,
Are you
your
happy
face-
on days where actually I don't know. It's like a dual feeling. I feel like crap, but I'm happy.
like, why?
I don't know. I'm just dreading everything, hating everything again. Just
And is this like, is this about like
You know, can I tell you
existential
something?
crisis or?
Existentially also, and I don't know. I'm a little wallowing in the pandemic. I feel still, and wallowing to a point where I'm starting to question my. I know the pandemic happened. The fact that I say that and you say, that means it happened, right?
Yeah.
But lately, I feel it was a figment of my imagination because things have gone back to normal, right? In
Yeah.
a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So I can't help but feel that I imagined it and nobody else, and it's very weird. I can't describe, and I know there are certain things that immediately fall under the realm of psychology. I know this is some. I'm sure other people somewhere also feel this, but I'm like, did that happen? Did it actually happen? Did I imagine it? I know it happened, but I find myself questioning it. Repeat. It's like walking into a room and suddenly we are like, wait, what did I come in the room for? Right? Like, what did I come to take in this room? It suddenly catches me unaware each time. So it's making me feel crazy.
No, I mean, I'm going through the other end of the spectrum where just generally there are a lot of things that are sort of suddenly have gained momentum in my life. For example, now I've been to my workplace like thrice already over the past month. So it feels like, okay, things are moving. And when I'm really pushing hard to curb that, when I'm seeing my momentum, my tempo not match, like other people's tempo not match my tempo, I'm getting annoyed because it's like, move on. Like,
Everyone's sluggish, slow, what?
No. As in when other people are not, and it's unfair on me to think and hope that everyone's perspective is going to align with my perspective. As in, if I feel like, yes, I'm ready to take the step, at the back of my mind, I'm feeling like, okay, so now let's take a step together. But like, there is no together. There are few people who are confident enough, and I know it's not right for me to kind of expect everyone to be ready. And this is not just work, everywhere. Overall, like, I have friends who are okay to vacation, but then there are so many friends who are still not okay to vacation, even if it's like a safe place. So yeah, so
How was your getaway? Speaking of, how was your little?
It was
Diwali
really good.
getaway?
I was so glad I went away because for some reason in Bombay, everyone was overcompensating because, I mean, clearly, like last year they couldn't burst crackers. So, and I live in a sort of cul-de-sac, so there isn't a lot of traffic movement there. So that became the hub. So literally, the day I came back, the street was trashed with the burst crackers. Like the floor, just the streets were just all over. So I was like, thank God I didn't. Because my poor little thing would have just gotten fucked. Yeah, so it was good, peaceful. It was raining there, so I was really glad.
I remember here I was like, oh, okay, people are intense. I was at home, and usually Squid is a very chill cat. Like every Diwali, I've never had to worry about him. I've noticed loud ass crackers and all, and he's just sleeping through it. But this time, I noticed his tail got really fat. He was like bolting about, and I was like, oh, okay, this is new. But then it started pouring. So I got so happy. Hey,
fuck you guys.
Yeah, fuck all of you. But then they took it out the next couple of days. It went. Even today morning, someone was bursting crackers.
I just don't. They're still bursting crackers in Bombay. I'm like,
you
what?
know
Like,
how I see it. It's like when I was a kid, I played cricket and I would hit the ball in some old person's balcony, and then they would yell at you, right? Like, oh, you'll break my glass and you'll this and all of that. And I would be like such an old person. Like, why are you being so anal? And then now I feel So that's how I feel about crackers. Like I enjoy them.
Cricket is different and crackers are
No,
different.
I'm saying like that. When I was a kid, I used to burst a lot of crackers, and now when I see someone else do it, I roll my eyes and I'm like, "Hey, motherfucker!" Like
No, I was always anti-crackers. I was that one chap who I hated noise. Like I hated noise.
Okay.
Like yeah.
It's a
Aloo bum, BD bum, fuck all. Just horrible.
Aloo bum, is that what you said? That's an aloo bum?
You guys like maybe
I'm
West of
assuming
India.
It's a Kolkata thing. Yeah.
No, it's East Indian.
Okay.
So the fat bum, the green ones which are
green, yeah.
And then
we used to call them hydrogen bomb.
So we used to call them aloo bum because it's like
rassi bomb. Yeah.
Rassi bomb was different. Rassi bomb is the one which has a lot of like
the green fat one, the green one that used to explode, that we used to call rassi bomb. But okay, whatever.
Okay, and we had chatai bomb because it's just random ass names. Yeah. But yeah.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
Anything have you read in the news lately?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's I don't tend to.
Did Axis Bank get
anything.
In touch with you?
No, not at all.
I think sue you?
No, I don't think I'll ever open an account there, and I don't think they'll let me open an account.
My God.
But yeah, I tend to not say anything positive about our government, and I don't think this is about the government per se. But there were a host of Padma Shri winners announced, and among them, a famed trans folk dancer Manjama Jogati. She sort of received the honor, and I'm very glad. I'm very happy that something like that had happened, and I'm so glad that the award, which is a recognition of someone's lifetime of talent, is being given to real people and not just a couple of Bollywood stars here and there. So it's
kind of marred when I saw the news. I was like, amazing, all of these amazing people. Then I saw Kangana Ranaut win, and I was like, hey, is it rigged? Is it rigged?
See, I do feel like this is all like, PR and just to kind of, make sure that also that, there is no backlash. I'm sure it's been thought of that way. But in that effort, if there is someone from the trans community, and it's not like tokenism, this person is their work speaks for themselves. And if she is being awarded, then that's a great thing. This
Absolutely.
doesn't, and this doesn't
I had never heard of her.
Yeah.
But thanks to I looked her up, and then this is what she's done. So yeah.
And that's what it does, right? Like there are so many folk artists who are trans and cross-dressers, etc., that I know from east of India, from me my years of growing up. But there are different parts of India that I'm not exposed to, artists that I'm not exposed to, and this kind of helps that. So I'm happy, I'm glad. But this by no means is saying that, the government is doing a great job. So I'm just putting it out there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's the news.
I also and BJP back to back. Sunetro back to back. You've dissed off two very big people.
I said. Let me target another biggie, which is Marvel. I watched Eternals, and in the name of in the name of inclusivity, it's just tokenism. Like, sure, I see a lot of colors. I see different colors of the spectrum. But, oh my God. It's
should I? I'm on the fence because I'm literally only
you should
Salma
watch
Hayek.
it.
Salma Hayek is one of my, idols. Like, I've loved
she's
Salma
good. See, it's a, I wouldn't say it's an awful film. It's really, really hammy in terms of, and I never thought Chloe Zhao would make a hammy film. But again, there are visuals that are beautiful. There are fight sequences that are beautiful. It's worth watching on the big screen. You will be disappointed, but I'm one of those people, even if I'm disappointed, I'll still watch it. Like I watched Electra twice in the theater. So if there are women kicking ass, I'm always up for it. So,
by the way, speaking of Electra, Jennifer Garner is hands down one of my favorite Instagram people to follow.
She's so adorable. Yes.
Baking. She's constantly baking. And I'm like,
she's so adorable.
Yeah. And actually, I do not like her as an actress. I don't remember anything where I was like, wow, Jennifer Garner.
Alias?
Okay, I was okay.
Alias is like then. Cult.
Yeah. In fact, you said this about Marvel, and I questioned yesterday. One of my friends messaged me, "Dude, you got to watch Shang-Chi."
Shang-Chi, yeah.
Shang-Chi, and this was his message. Dude, you got to watch Shang-Chi. I know you're going to say Marvel, but I've got only one thing to say to you. Shirtless Asian men. I was like, okay, what does he think of me? Like, now I'll watch it.
No, I watched a whole. I've been watching so many movies in the theater, and it's great.
Yeah,
it feels great.
yeah.
But
I just did
Shang-Chi
Dune,
is
that's
worth a
all.
watch.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna watch it again.
Oh my God. Okay.
I
Okay.
absolutely loved it so much. So anyway,
I'm still on the fence, even after a week. But okay, let's get to our topic. We'll discuss Dune at some point.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break and then we'll be back.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On this very special 150th episode of Advertising is Dead, Varun's in conversation with Pooja Dhingra, pastry chef, podcaster, and founder of Love 15 Patisserie. Do check out this episode for a look at her journey as a creator and entrepreneur. On Paisa Vaisa, Anupam is joined by Ravi Ravulaparthi, CEO and co-founder of Kapita FinTech. They discuss the problems when it comes to ESOPs, i.e. employee stock options. Facebook announced their rebranding and its ambitions on becoming a metaverse company. On Simplified, Tony, Chuck, and the others talk about what this means. On All Things Policy, Ruturaj Gowaikar and Aditya Parikh discuss the European Union's Arctic strategy. And on Say No to Drama, tune into episode Moodiness, My Birthright, as Chitna talks about how you can be as moody as you want to be. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And do follow us on YouTube. We have a number of different channels. You can find them on ivmpodcast.com/YouTube, where you'll be able to take a look at all of the channels we have. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week: Cred, Bank of Baroda, Quarter, CoinSwitch, Kuber, Slay Coffee, Intel, and Oxfam India. Thank you so much. You make this possible.
All right. So what are we talking about? After a slightly upper of an episode, let's bring it down to reality a little bit.
Too much reality.
Yeah, reality.
My life
checks.
is too real right now.
And all of us, yeah. But yeah.
I wanted to do family is something we can never cover enough of, because especially being gay or LGBTQ, like families either play such an important part in our well-being or not. Or you know what I mean?
Or both at the same time. It's a complicated relationship, right? Where you can, and this is something I can't explain to so many people, where you can have a loving relationship with your family, but you could still have had been emotionally abused by them. People just don't get it.
Yeah.
People
no,
don't
in my case, it's just suddenly I moved. My family got so toxic for me at some point that I just moved. Fuck this. I'm out. And I moved for 12 years. I was away. As in, of course, intermittently. Hi, what's up? We met. I traveled all the time. But a lot of therapy happened in those 12 years. And I don't know what's up. But the main thing happening in my life right now is my dad's mental health he's reached the final level of Alzheimer's now. And no matter how much I prepared, we got this news 3-4 years ago that he has Alzheimer's, and it took 3 to 4 years. And I had enough time to prepare, and I tried to prepare for everything, which is, he'll forget your name, he'll lose bowel function, everything. But now all the things are coming at me at the speed of like, and again,
you can never be too prepared for stuff like this.
No, I can't.
And also, somewhere down the line, it's just your mind and your body pushes that out, because in your head, it's one of those things where it's all going to be fine. Your mind kind of plays that trick on you.
But here's the deal. Here's what's fucking my head up, which is I am focused for the dad stuff, but for some odd reason, it's been years, right, since my like all the toxicity that exists in my family, it's somehow re-emerging. Even over the years, they had like moved an inch. I wouldn't say they had evolved or matured in any way, but I know they got tired of the incessant fighting, of the incessant like everything. But lately, it's just even their bad sides have, like, especially my mom, like their annoying sides have resurfaced again. And then to deal with everything that's happening with dad, and to deal with this kind of like, it's too much. It's too much. Where so much so I moved to Pune 8 months now ago. 8 months. It's been 8 months. But after 8 months, I'm like, you know what, I shouldn't have come back. Like that has happened a couple of times. It is just so terrible. Every time I think that or I say that, I'm like, what do you mean you shouldn't have come back? Your dad needs you, and I'm there in that sense. But I feel like slowly some sort of unraveling has started happening, and all the work that I put in, like somehow suddenly people are stepping on my toes easily. I'm quick to give a reaction, which is something I had learned consciously.
But it's not you unraveling. It's just this momentary and temporary. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that is because literally my last therapy session was exactly about this, because when my dad was visiting, there were a lot of things that I felt which I hadn't felt in like more than a decade, which is happiness with him, where I felt like, wow, we are in a comfortable space together. And immediately my mind went to, oh, so the last time things were fine with another parent, that parent died exactly in 2 months. And immediately in my mind, and of course my dad's getting older, and when he came here for a couple of days, he had fever because there was weather change and stuff like that. And my dad's a very like whiny sick person. Like if he gets the smallest inkling of fever, he'll be like this real burden, like he's really annoying. So he was really annoying that time, but because he was voicing, oh my god, my it just made me feel like, oh fuck, everything's crashing down. So basically this is like that one odd moment of joy and happiness that I will face, and then after this everything's downhill. And then I felt the same thing, but the truth of the matter was that there was a lot that was happening everywhere.
I hear what you're saying, and for me, surprisingly, in the past it used to be about the past, like, oh, this is classic behavior, you're being so annoying again, like, oh, you'll never change, that kind of stuff. It would take me to the past. But lately, I'm going into the future, because now the thing is, hey, the only reason I'm doing this is because I'm here for dad, but God forbid, which is, again, if he's not around, what is my reaction? What is my relationship going to be with you guys? Like, like, what am I going to be one of those people who just like, I don't have a family and just move the fuck on? Because it's got very intense. And I again, I don't want to label what our conversation or this topic or this episode is even, but it's pent up so quickly. It's like a pressure cooker right now. Like within the last 2-3 weeks, I've suddenly had too many things happen with which I've reached my limit has been reached. And again, when you go to therapy, you have like boundaries and limits beyond which you realize you're being irrational, or you are not processing the situation well, or your reaction is not justified, whatever, right? You learn those things. But again, I don't know if it's my family thing. In my family, if things were to go south, they go south so quickly and in such like explosive ways that it suddenly just becomes like you're shell-shocked. Basically, each time I just feel shell-shocked, like what, like, why are we talking about this? Why is this fight or fight right now? Like what? And that's the thing I hate about my family, if I had to say, is I grew up with friends I had a friend who had an alcoholic father, right? I had a friend whose mom left them for some other man. I had none of that shit. I have just a dysfunctional family that
you have just dysfunctional individuals as part of your family. That's what
who just I don't have the usual problems. It's just, in our case, I'm not kidding, there was a fight about bread 2 weeks ago in my house, and I cannot tell you how. Can I tell you how this fight, just so that it makes sense to me? Come on, please.
Please.
My brother said, I'm stepping out. My brother had come over. I had gone over. We were about to have a good lunch. And my brother was like, I'm going to get bread. Should I get sliced bread? Or you've had brun pav, like brun muska pav. So should I get slice or brun? Okay. And suddenly my mom is like, where are you going to get the brun from? And then my brother is like, I'm going to get it from this bakery. And suddenly my mom is like, no, that guy adds too much yeast to his bakery. You can't get that bread and all of that. Now, the other bakery that we have, whose brun we happen to like, is quite far away. So my brother's like, I'm not going all the way there. If you want this brun and all of that. And suddenly my mom is like, oh, why did you even ask me if you're going to just do what you want? And then my brother was like, what do you mean by that? And then my mother was like, what do you mean by that? And what do you mean by that? And you were such a dick when we were growing up. You are such an asshole. I hate you. And you are an asshole. And I'm like,
it's just bread.
But you know what I mean? Like,
I absolutely know what you mean.
I know I might laugh at all of this someday. I will laugh at this, that, oh my God, my family was so fucked up, but it was fucked up cute. Like they fought over bread at some point. Then I missed them eventually, I guess. But right now in this moment where horrible things are going down with my dad's Alzheimer's, I don't think we should be fighting about bread. You know what I mean?
No, like I bicker with my father about exactly these small points where he is if I ask him to look for something in the fridge,
sure,
which is right in front,
he
will take a second, open the fridge, take a second, come back and say it's not there. Every fucking time. Like it riles me up. And literally every single time, if I'm in the middle of something, I'll tell him, Dad, can you just get like this one pack of yogurt and give it to Gaga or something? Literally, I wait for the reaction and then I go, have you checked? It's so annoying.
I should have done.
But it's okay. So, I mean, when you're talking about, this is what I figured. Okay. I think that directly getting affected by these changes, and it's not so much that, but it's being part of that process of change while you're also in the midst of upheavals. When it comes to upheavals is a very strong word, but changes and upheavals when it comes to profession and this and that, where there's so much happening, that's what gets to me. And I don't know about you, but for me it is that, and it's very difficult to point out what was the cause, what was the effect, which came first. But for me, what was happening, what started happening over the last month was that I was not getting the time to think this through. And when I think things through, I see clarity. I get clarity, and I didn't even have time to speak to my therapist. So, which is why my mind first was going to, oh, my dad is going to die tomorrow. So it's only after I had the time to understand that what I'm going through, what I was going through in like end of September, early October, mid-October, was a special time. It was a different time, a very specific set of circumstances that collided, and it's not my everyday life. That's when I calmed the fuck down, because I had started to question the fact that because when dad was here, I didn't have the time to do a handover of what's happening at home. So you take over some of the duties. So technically I was doing that, and I was doing like, work and blah, blah, blah. So in my head, I was thinking, is this going to be the best case scenario where I'm burnt out completely if I have to have anything akin to a family in my life? Is the best case scenario for me to be alone? Like I was going through, that's the thing. Like when I was handicapped by the idea that I didn't have the power of thinking openly, seeing the bigger picture. And that's what was happening to me.
See, but that's what I'm talking about, right? When I use a word like unraveling, when I use a word like, I know what you're saying, and that doesn't undo all the years of work that I've put in, or that this is momentary and this won't last forever and all of that. But it's just the fact that something this trivial, or these tiny little frictions or frissions or whatever they are called, like if they can always make me question, wait, have I grown at all? Because you have a certain sense of development that happens after you dealt with problematic families for a while, right? You have like, I have moved on, I have moved over this. It's like a lover, right? You feel there is a point where you can say like, okay, I am over this.
For me, I never see that as a destination. I always see that as a work in progress. I always see that as a journey. It's tiring to feel that.
Then in my case, I feel like my train is going in reverse, right? Like, it's a journey, sure. But right now I feel like, it's sliding backwards. Everything's sliding backwards.
Obviously,
and
the whole idea of immunity to certain things, when that starts,
you can understand
when that starts,
one of the main reasons I want this topic to be a topic is because we more often than not come from fractured relationships within the family. We have, especially again, growing up gay, you obviously have some sort of like, they are not cool, my parents are horrible, my parents are okay, even the supportive parents, you develop some sort of complexes. I know that I have a friend who makes these reels where he's very openly like flamboyant and gay, and which is parents in the reels, you know what I mean? And I was having a conversation with him, and I happened to ask him, like, I don't want to assume that, oh, wow, your parents are accepting and all, but I was like, hey, what was it like for you to come out to your parents and all of that? And he's like, sure, you see the reels and they are down to having fun with me on camera and all of that. But there is an entire side to it where I still have to like, should I introduce them to a boy because they will have this issue and that issue? And I'm like, so even people whose parents are accepting, they have their own set of issues. Even people who, the opposite end, which is your parents are like, fuck all and terrible and dangerous almost, you know, they obviously have issues. And I'm constantly like, because it's family in the end, you cannot get rid of them, and somehow.
So I want to ask that. What's your perspective on that? This whole idea of you cannot get rid of them. I feel like that's where we are making, like, you know, this idea of, oh, so you are the son, so you have to do. You are the child, so you have to. Yeah. I mean, I believe in it, but I don't believe in it for others.
Listen, if everybody in your family was a danger to you or hazardous to your well-being, but again, I don't want to say my case, but in my case, I am extremely fond of my father, and it's like I keep giving this analogy, but it's like the princess, right? My dad's the princess in the story, and every time I have to interact with him, I have to go through a dragon and a pit of despair and a giant moat full of fire. And I'm like, it shouldn't be this difficult. If it's just like, so in that way, I'm intertwined and I cannot seem to cut myself off, you know? Otherwise, again, which is what I was saying earlier, right? That take dad out of this equation, suddenly I feel like it would be very easy for me to be like, you know what, you're a miserable human being. Bye. I don't care. And
no, I mean, for me, for example, if my dad's out of the equation, I don't think my brother and I will have any relationship. I think I'll maybe see him once in 4 years, like, to be very honest. Like, I don't think there will be any relationship left. The only relationship that exists is because I don't want to get into like details of it, but because there is, like, I have the slightest amount of whatever, like, feeling for him at this point of time. I don't depend on him for anything at all anymore. And it's come to a point where I don't have any trust, any faith in him at all. Like, I don't think he will ever, it's like the there's too much water under the bridge that's gone by. And I don't think I can rely on him for anything at all. So as a result of that, I keep questioning myself that what role does he play? And for me, that's one thing that I've consciously started asking myself. Anyone in my life, and anyone whose life I'm part of, what role do they play in my life and vice versa? Am I contributing to people's lives if I am an active part of their life, or am I being a leech? And vice versa. Is that person an active part of my life? And I figured my brother is not.
That's the thing, right, Sunetro? We have been independent in so many ways. Again, I can't help but have this conversation from our perspective.
Of course, yeah.
From someone who's partially still living with their parents. I went on a date. It wasn't a date, actually, but I met someone this week who had moved away from the family and like was totally living their life out and proud, and suddenly he's had to move back in with his family during the pandemic, and now it's been 2 years. And not only did he have to move back in with his family, his brother and his wife moved in with them. And not that he was complaining anyway, but I could hear the strain in his voice when he was talking about it, to have that kind of freedom snatched away, right? Like we managed the pandemic, we managed having our individual separate lives and still being available to our family in whatever capacity our therapy has taught us to be. But sometimes I just wish this is a test I did not have to take again and again. All other tests I have seen, let's say you have a problem of falling in love with toxic men all the time. Yeah, you fall in love with a toxic man once, you fall in that cycle again, you fall again, till you reach a point where you're like, you know what? I fall in this trap each time. This time I'm not going to fall in it. Then you start feeling like, oh, I'm so mature. I'm so this. I got rid of that problem because, I was dealing with it. But then suddenly another new guy comes who you feel he's not toxic, but he's suddenly, and life has a way of testing you in the same problem again and again and again and again. But I feel like this family shit, I'm done. I'm done with it.
No, so that's what I'm asking. What I'm asking is that, do you think that, and this is a very Western concept where parents should be on their own, kids should be on their own. Fundamentally, do you think that for the community, do you think that that's something that's important for us to start just putting into motion? Because
of being okay with having,
and I'm not
separate...
saying I'm not saying that you say मैं तुम्हारा चेहरा नहीं देखूंगा कभी, but have a very clear boundary where you say, you know what, I'll
beyond
take care
this
of myself. I can't. Like there is a boundary that I need to have. Of course, if you want to be part of my life, you have to be part of my life on my terms. I know it's easier said than done, but I mean, it has to start somewhere. I genuinely feel, and this is, I get questioned because I feel like I have very militant views when it comes to these things. I get questioned a lot. Even there was this work sort of panel where I said exactly that it's, I feel it's, I said that it's okay to disown parents because you are being endangered. Your mental health is being endangered. It's okay to move away. And there was a queer person on the panel who said, how can you say that? You have a responsibility to your parents. I said, 1 second. You also have a responsibility to yourself. That trumps everything else. And literally all the things that came after that, and this person isn't even Indian. This person said, what about all the things that they have done for you? I said, and then I went into the whole idea of saying, listen, they did it. They had sex. I was born. They had a great night, and I was born because of that. So let's not get into it. I was a responsibility that they very well knew they need to take care of. So
that's the thing, right? In India, there's this sudden angle or twang of one of the reasons you have kids is so that later on in life
it's
a
security.
Like later
insurance.
On in life, and look, I don't deal with that kind of bullshit. Like, even, in fact, my parents have never expected that kind of shit from me or take care of us and all. But again, I don't know, dude. I sometimes feel like this guilt, even if you emancipate it, let's say, and by all means, to answer your question once and for all, please, if your family has been entirely detrimental to your well-being, your health, your mental health, everything, please cut yourself off entirely and don't even see their face and don't even feel bad about it. Because like you said, right? Hey, I did not ask for this. And on top of that, even if I asked for it, you could have done a better job or be better human beings, instead of fucking making my time on this planet fuck all, basically. But this inescapable guilt, let's say, okay, you have managed to emancipate yourself. You cannot not process what you're feeling a lot of times when life milestones, the bad kind, happen, which is, oh my God, I'll give you a simple example. But another, since we thought about bread, I'll give you another example. My dad has reached diaper age, where he's so slow in his movement now that for his brain to go, okay, you need to pee. And from the time he gets up to make it to the bathroom, there is some leakage, basically. So we were like, okay, this. And I have no idea how to buy diapers. So I've kept a ward boy. I hope that's a good term. Someone who takes care of my dad, who comes daily.
Nurse, whatever,
No, nurse, a male nurse who comes every day, gives him a bath, shampoos him, shaves him, brushes everything, right? Gives him his medicine, all of it. So I asked this nurse, obviously, considering that's their profession, I was like, what? Now, the nurse handed me a packet of, get these diapers. They are very good. I use them in the other homes that I visit and all. I was like, great. he gave me the wrong diaper. He gave me the wrong size. He gave me the wrong type. I can't believe I'm talking so much about adult diapers, but bear with me. Now, it turns out diapers are of different kinds. Like babies, you have your pant style diaper and then you have your foldable style diaper. And I did not know. And I was on Amazon. I'm buying diapers for the first time. And it did not occur to me that, hey, this is your first time buying diapers. Don't buy in bulk. But basically, I ended up buying some 30 boxes of diapers because it was one of those, the more you buy, the more cheaper it gets and whatever. So I bought it in bulk, and turns out it was the wrong style and you can't use these and they're not his size. So now suddenly I have a giant box of unreturnable, maybe 1,000 diapers. So if anyone needs diapers, please DM me. I'm giving away. You get a diaper. But the amount of fighting that has happened because where do we keep these diapers? I was like, you know what? I'll keep them at home. But then my mom is like, no, for emergency sake, we'll keep them here. So I was like, okay, keep them here. But then my mom is constantly like, you've left this giant box. She herself said it, but you've left this giant box. How am I supposed to clean the house also when there's a giant box of diapers? And I'm like, I will take it off you. No, but then what if we need it in emergency? So I was like, okay, I'll get more emergency diapers. Give this box to me. No, but what if yesterday also you had... And I'm like, dude, I can't. Everything cannot be a test of patience for me. First of all, and I'll tell you the guilt part of it. I'm also coming to terms with the fact that, wow, diapers are expensive. Wow, this male nurse, I'm paying through my nose. Wow, these are coming at a cost. I'm suddenly having to financially reassess my life to like, hey, you know what? Don't buy lobster right now because, you have this expense now. Like that kind of... So I'm going through my own ordeal here. Please, can you not be a dick in that? And again, this is a very specific to me problem.
Of course, yeah.
But what I'm trying to highlight here is the guilt that you feel. And somewhere, I know before we started this podcast, we were like, should we discuss family burden? For the first time, I'm feeling like a terrible son constantly because he's really deteriorating in front. And, the thing about Alzheimer's is the older you get, the speed at which you deteriorate is suddenly...
whoosh.
It starts getting like, oh my God, it comes at you like a fucking volleyball, like poof, 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 it's hitting me constantly. So it's just that I already feel like I'm lacking in terms of what can I do more, like, okay, financially I can do this, male nurse, diapers, you name it, a sipper bottle. My dad's reached a point where he can't fucking drink water without choking on water because, he's forgotten how to even drink water. So I have to get a sipper bottle and I have to do this, and his chappals are slippery, and anti-slipping bathroom mat, and this and that and this and that. And it's tough for me, and I don't know. It's just very quickly... I feel, again, if I had to make my story more relatable to everyone else, it's this, you feel when you're growing up and your family is not accepting of who you are, you feel a certain level of, where am I wrong? What did I do wrong? What am I lacking?
That's your first instinct where, you put the focus on yourself.
Yeah, but now as an adult, for me to, where am I lacking as a son? What am I doing? It's really hitting a raw nerve in me for that feeling to come back and compounded in a way. I can be like, fuck off, I don't care. I can do that. But it's really hitting me, my raw nerve, which is, hey, you might not be a good son, dude. Like you might not be. I know I am. I'm doing the best I can. And this is not a fishing for any sort of thing. It's just that there are so many emotions to be navigated and so many hoops to jump through when it comes to family, especially if you've had an estranged, dysfunctional family, that sometimes, how we joke about you never come out to your family once, it's a forever process. You keep coming out to your family all the time. I feel like this is also one of those things that never ends. Like it's just like it ends eventually. But
I mean, it's never completely like you wish that there are resolutions, but the resolution is never complete. I've realized that it's never also because it's very stupid of me to even expect there to be an absolute resolution because we're talking about people in their 60s. 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
They're pretty set in their ways.
Yeah.
So if I'm expecting them to suddenly go through a metamorphosis, that's
Yeah.
just stupidity on my part.
Yeah.
So I've realized that if I want certain things, either I have to temper my expectations, or I have to constantly work at it when I'm in proximity of my family. I have to keep asking for those things. I have to keep pushing for those things, because they will waver. They will sort of, not be on that path throughout. It's not a guarantee ever.
Family, can't live with them.
Can live without them.
No, end of sentence.
I can live without them. And that's for me, I've
it's your cross to bear. I know.
It's my cross to bear. I've made it a
vacuum, Sunetro. It's the look. I don't want to talk on your behalf or try to assess your problem from your point of view, but you can't help but feel, or at least I can't. No matter how evolved or how much I've grown or how much I'm okay with distancing myself from them, there is always that sweet lingering pain, which is what could have been different. What would have what could have worked, I'm not saying it happens on an aggressive level now, but some vacuum exists in you, right? Because I'm saying, let's say we've not lived into the future. Someday, I'm going to say it, okay? In the effort of us being, people always tell us we are so honest, and also I'll be honest, right? But tomorrow, if my mom dies, okay, and my mom is someone who I don't get along with at all, okay, if she dies tomorrow, I know I won't go crazy like, oh my God, what could have been different and how could have things been better? But there is a fart of notion or an idea that, wow, she was such an unhappy person, and how will I process that death, considering I did not like her and we do not get along even now we don't get along. So, but there will be funeral rites, right? There will be those things that I will have to go through, and it's something I know the solution right now is not to think of it. Like, hey, don't think of it. You don't know, you might die tomorrow. You don't know these things. But that little fraction of what could have been, that I don't think really goes away. It's like a fucking dude.
It doesn't. But for me, it's
a bed bug.
I've realized it's just I've stopped looking into the future when it comes to these things. And because when you look into the future, literally your mind will only, especially for people like me, your mind will only teeter towards the negative side of things. It will not. Any positives will feel like a dream. Any negatives will feel really close to reality.
Yeah.
So I tend not to do that. And that's something that even in therapy, one of the things that was a very smart thing that my therapist advised me on. She said that, things will happen. Things like your dad is growing older, but do you want to spend time worrying about that, or do you want to spend time thinking about the good time you can spend now and live in the now? And for me, it's just that, live in the now. That's pretty much it. With family and otherwise.
That's a reminder I just need repeatedly. We should do 5 more family episodes. We already done one in the past.
Yeah.
But fuck family, but also, okay, I'm okay with your family, but fuck them. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It's
it's complex. It's always complex, and
so
you
complex.
Can't. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Anyway, I think that's pretty much it. What we'll do is we shall move on to our next segment after a quick break.
Season 3 of Echoes of India, your favorite history podcast, is back on the IVM Podcast Network. I'm your host, Anirudh Kanasetti. Join me on a journey through the wonders of early India as we explore the centuries between Buddha and Ashoka with critical research, empathy, and great storytelling. Along the way, you'll hear from all the vibrant peoples who shaped our world, from monks and farmers to warriors and emperors. New episodes are out every Monday.
So, what are you recommending this week?
Oh, wow. Oh, shit. I totally am blanking. I knew what I was going to recommend. And, okay, but I know something which has been a huge part of my childhood. It was a huge part of my teenage years once VCDs and DVDs happened. It is a huge part again, considering it's now on streaming. Twin Peaks. Have you watched Twin Peaks?
Yeah,
okay.
Of course.
Okay. I don't expect anybody who I advise to watch Twin Peaks to like it, first of all. It's one of those shows. It's just you automatically, it's a genre defying. Is it sci-fi? Is it horror? Is it comedy?
Yeah, you have no idea.
Is it a murder?
I mean, literally the genre is David Lynch. That's the genre.
But this plot line of, a girl shows up dead on the banks of a river and then the entire town gets embroiled in a mystery of who did it. That's done infinite times now, right from Mayor of Easttown to you name it, right? It's been done so many times. But it's out. I read Twin Peaks is out on Hotstar again, and I was like, it's been years since I watched it. And it's like Mulholland Drive, which is also I don't know. It's just every time it's like a fever dream to watch this show. Yeah. Right from the TV theme, which is so like, it's just you float away in your head and you're like
Angelo
the dialogues and the background music. You feel like
haunting.
Which I don't remember any other TV show making me feel like that. It's not like, I sat down and now I'm watching Twin Peaks. I just float away.
It's
in this world.
There's a sense of surrealism that it kind of draws you in. It's very deep down.
I'm so glad you say, because somehow, I don't know, every time I watch Twin Peaks throughout the years, I somehow think of Salvador Dali, even though he has nothing to do with the show and it has nothing to do with him. But it's just so bizarre. There's a lady who talks to a log of wood all the time and nobody questions her. Like, why is she talking to a log of wood? The craziest person in the show is a psychologist. It's so random. And I don't know. I'm watching it again and I don't know, with every age, it has meant something to me. Not that something spiritual or deep or anything, but as a person who thoroughly enjoys cinema and TV shows and pop culture in general, I just feel like it's a delicious piece of nugget that I can't put in any box where other things exist. It's a very standalone, by itself.
Yeah.
Twin Peaks, love it. It's on Hotstar. I expect everybody who watches it to message me and say, I did not like it. What the fuck was that suggestion? Do it. But if you like it, I know it's something you will think of for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So Twin Peaks. Yeah, that's my suggestion. What's
So I mean, there's been an influx of a lot of trailers of queer protagonist-led rom-coms, and that brought me to and these are like rom-coms. These are light films, and one of the films that I ended up watching after I had it for the longest time, but I watched it after a long time, was this film called Breaking Fast. It's got Haas Sleiman in it. Haas Sleiman is he played one of the doctors in Nurse Jackie, and so it's about this Muslim guy. During Ramadan, he denies himself romance for the time of Ramadan, and after Iftar, he starts meeting this guy. So it's like he's true to his religion, but then he also believes in love. And there's just this beautiful, and I won't use the term religion because it's more about faith. There's this beautiful interplay of faith and beliefs, and it's such a positive portrayal of the Islamic gay community and anyone who feels like that community is not represented. This is a beautiful step in the right way. Breaking Fast, you have to do illegal stuff to get it.
Now I kind of, the only reason I look forward to December is the spate of LGBTQ rom-coms that come out. Last year it was that Kristen Stewart movie.
Yes. I can't. So there's this Single All the Way trailer that came out for Netflix. It's got Mark Urey. It looks so adorable.
Oh my God, I'm forgetting her name. The White Lotus lady. Oh my God, she's in it, and I saw it, and it looks so tacky first of all. But I was like, I'm still going to watch this because it was funny.
It's funny and it's light. That's the thing. It's low involvement. So I mean, so my recommendation, particularly for December, definitely watch Breaking Fast. It's not Christian. No.
Okay, got it. समझने वाले को इशारा काफी है.
Yes.
VPN your lives.
Yes. Okay. So
thank you so much, Sunetro.
Thank you, Farhad.
Wait, quickly before you go, do you use a VPN?
No, I don't. Not really.
God.
Never needed to.
Yeah, even I used to not.
And?
I actually got a notice on my Gmail. Yeah, and it seemed like a not threatening, and it was to the legalese. It's written in very like, I don't know the language, like it's English, but it was very like, there's been some errant activity. And at first I thought it's a spam mail. Yeah, but it had listed a web series of sites that I've been visiting, and all of them were your Pirate Bay and RBG and I was like, okay, I should, and
Be careful.
I kept stalling on VPN, never, because it's like the bareback sex, right?
Yeah.
Downloading torrents without VPN is like barebacking on the internet. But
till it happens to you.
Yeah, this mail kind of scared me. I still don't understand.
Okay,
Am I supposed to?
I'm officially freaked out right now. So
No, don't be, because again, I don't think it asked me for some summons or show up or reply or anything. I am going to have someone look at that mail though, because it very specifically says the words piracy. It says, and the links that they sent me are, because I use very exotic torrent sites now, because these RBG and Pirate Bay keep getting shut down and they're very irritating, right? So I use the not so famous ones, and even those were written in this list. And I was like, okay, I need to show this to a person. I don't know who do I show it to, but someone who understands, have I done something? Am I in trouble here? And if they listen to this podcast episode, then admission of guilt has happened. So I'm sorry. My next episode will be from jail. But okay, is Aryan Khan still there? No point going to jail. Okay, cool. Thanks a lot, Sunetro.
All right.
I actually feel
so
lighter.
Much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks in return.
Amazing. See you next week.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Do you like true crime stories?
Do you like to learn about the people behind some horrible, awful crimes?
More specifically, women that may have committed these crimes.
Actually, Indian criminals that are women?
Then we'd like to welcome you to our podcast, Misconduct. My name is Raghavi.
And I am Nisha.
We cover themes like murder, dacoity, drug trafficking, financial fraud, kidnapping, and many more.
You can catch us every Wednesday on the IVM Podcast Network or wherever you get your podcast.
What if you could relive some of the biggest and most public feuds in Indian corporate history?
Peer back through the window of time to see who among HUL or Nirma stood on top.
Or who was more dominant between Tata Motors and Maruti Suzuki?
Tune in with me, Ambi Parmeshwaran.
And me, Anupam Gupta, on Bank of Baroda presents The Last Brand Standing,
where we talk about two brands vying for the top position
and what their journeys were.
Every Tuesday on the IVM Podcast app or website,
or wherever you get your podcast from.